I really went through a lot these past couple months.
You did say that you made it.
I feel like I did.
Over 100 million views in a short. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Welcome to the Sour Hour podcast. We have Trent, known as Internet Personality Crash. You might have seen him on YouTube on his personal channels. He's been recording videos for a long time. You might also know him from the Trendy Treats channel. Less than a year ago, became the main face to that channel. And he's 18 years old, currently gets over 100 million views in a short. And I'm not saying that as a one-time thing. I'm saying that pretty repetitively. Crash, welcome to the podcast. I'm happy to have you on.
Man, well, thank you guys for having me. Seriously, this is my first podcast I've done, so I'm excited. Hopefully I don't give any weird answers, but no, I'm excited. It's been a pleasure working with you guys, and I feel like this is something I want to do for a while, so it's great to be here.
It's like gonna be on the internet, but this is like a different version. But
Yeah,
I think you'll be fine with it.
Right.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to have you on was because since I met you, really interesting person, really interesting guy. You've been on YouTube for a long time, which is actually how I found you. I found you on YouTube.
Yeah, dude. I think I made my channel. I mean, it sounds a long time when you put it in years, but 2016 was not that long ago. But for me, I was 8 years old. 2016 made my first channel, and literally pretty much every single day since 2016, I've just been consistently
So since
posting on YouTube.
2016, was it like the intention since then to go on YouTube?
Yeah, so I feel like where it all kind of started was right when I was born. My parents, they were super involved, and from when I was 1 years old, I started reading like the little flashcards. When I was 3, I was given talks at church, like little I don't know, little short talks. I mean, how much in depth can you really go when you're a kid? But you know what I mean. So I loved performing and I loved talking. And then when I was 8 years old, my parents, they signed me up for a play, which I think was one of the best decisions ever, because that was what kind of got me into performing and putting myself out there. So I was 8 years old and I did this play, and I was just like a little side character. I was a frog. And then I tried out again the next season, or maybe it was a couple months later. I think it was the fall, and it was for Beauty and the Beast, and I got the role as Chip. So I was super excited because it was like a lead role. And then from there on, I went to do lots of other plays. And as I got older, that's when I kind of discovered YouTube at 8 years old. And I kind of started, I think my first ever video, I took this doll I had and I put it on my sister's motorized four-wheeler. That's what it was. It was a Minnie Mouse four-wheeler. And I just recorded it on my phone. And from there, my video just kind of progressed and progressed and progressed. And yeah, now we're here today.
So your parents were and there's a lot of parents that have concerns, right, with putting their
Mm.
face or their children on the internet.
Uh-huh.
Were your parents ever hesitant or worrisome of your face being out there?
I think it's like a good concern. There's like a lot of like crazy stuff on the internet. For me, I think my parents, they were always encouraging of it. I think they wanted to keep me safe. So they always taught me from a young age, hey, here's the things that you should be doing. Here's how to keep yourself safe. And then they always kind of kept an eye on me, making sure everything was good. But other than that, yeah, they've been really supportive, like 100%. They've always been, yeah, all the way in for it. So I've told them, I think when I started that channel, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a YouTuber. And they're like, okay, do it. Yeah, you got this. And then I just never, a lot of kids have dreams. I'm going to be an astronaut or this. And it kind of fades out when you get older. But that's like one that stuck with me and yeah, never went away. So I just kept posting, and then turned the dream into a reality.
So during this dream, was there ever a point where you were like, I do want to go to college and fulfill this? Or there was
No.
never?
I never wanted to go to college. I hated school. I think when I was like in first grade to maybe third grade, I liked it. But after that, I hated it. I did really good and I had like great grades. I was the top of my classes, but I hated it. It was like, I don't know. I just couldn't stand sitting in a desk and being bored and doing all these things that I felt like weren't going to impact me. Kind of similar to I was watching the Spicy episode.
Mm.
And I feel like this is kind of a common story for a lot of creatives where it's like school is
And when you like
frustrating.
mentioned that again, like no pushback,
Yeah.
super supportive from your
Yeah,
parents.
yeah,
Wow.
for real. I was super lucky. So I switched, like I maybe went to 12 different schools in my lifetime. It's a lot because my parents were like, okay, well, let's find one that works better. And I went to public schools, I went to private schools, I was homeschooled, I did online school. And when I did online school, it was during COVID, my freshman year. That's, I feel like, what was the turning point that helped me fully transition to YouTube, because I was always at home. I was doing my schoolwork on my computer and I'll get it done in like 5 hours and I was done for the whole week. So from 2020 on, I was just posting every day, every day,
So
every
that's
day.
freshman year to high school, you were like online?
Yeah. So my freshman year was 2020. So that's when everything went online for COVID. And I feel like it was a really good thing for me because it's freed up a lot of my time. Cause you know what I mean? You spend 8 hours at school and I'm glad that that was the right fit for me because I feel like necessarily education doesn't have to be a bad thing. I feel like it should be a really good thing. Everyone should be learning, but I feel like not everyone's cut out for certain things. And I feel like the whole idea of a lot of schools is kind of like a one mold for everyone when I feel like everyone is so different.
And what type of content did you start publishing? You said you were 8 years old
A year.
when you started posting on YouTube. What is an 8-year-old posting on YouTube?
Oh my gosh, everything, anything I thought of, like I had no filter. The first thing I would pop into my head, I would just post. I think so. I was telling you, I did that one with the doll on the scooter, and then I did one.
What's the doll on the scooter?
Okay,
Is it the
so
doll on this?
yeah, it was like
scooter?
it was the doll, and then on my sister's little electric, she had like this mini four-wheeler, and I put it on, and then I taped the button and recorded it so it looked like the doll was driving by itself. So I do stuff like that. I would do ones with little there was actually a lot of them now that I think about little toys making them move, and I'm like, the doll is haunted. And then I kind of moved to like, oh guys, today I'm calling evil Siri. Let's see how she reacts. And I'd have my friend get on the phone and we change the contact to evil Siri. I'm like, guys, evil Siri is really texting me. And then from there I kind of transitioned to like challenges. I filled my parents' entire house with balloons, which was insane. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I filled my house with 1,000 balloons. And then for 2,000 and for 3,000, it became like a yearly thing where every year I'd fill the house with balloons. And then, yeah, it was a lot of challenge stuff like that up until recently. So
Oh,
it's been kind
wow.
of fun.
Oh, that's interesting. You did say that you made it.
Made it. I feel like I did. I feel like I finally
When
did
did
the
you
dream.
feel when did you feel that?
So this last summer, so this was I think March 2024 when you reached out to me, Zeus. I was on a program called Creator Now. I didn't have enough money to be able to pay for it, but I wanted to try it out and do the free trial. And then once the trial ended, my account stayed up, but I no longer had access. And Zeus found me on there somehow. And the account was still up. He tried to message me, obviously didn't get back to him. But luckily, my Instagram was attached. So he kind of reached out to me through Instagram. To me, it was like a really crazy series of events because this was like the moment where I was like, okay, I'm graduating high school. This is getting real. Like, I really have to decide whether I'm doing YouTube or not. And I was getting nervous and I was overthinking everything. And I was like afraid to post because I'm like, oh, I can't post a bad video. I can't post a bad video. So it ended with me just not posting at all. And so I started trying some other things. I did like professional voice acting for commercials. I did lyric videos. I did editing for other people. And I was really glad that things ended up like that because you reached out to me and I was like, oh, shoot, this is like an opportunity to go do YouTube like for an actual job. So, of course, I had to say yes. You know what I mean? Could not pass up that opportunity. I came down here and that's when I met you guys. And it was really fun. I feel like we connected really well. And yeah, right off the bat, we made that first video, the Chick-fil-A prank, 1,000,000 views. I was like, no way, this is my first video to get 1,000,000 views. Moved down here, and I feel like ever since that moment, I feel like that's when I feel like, okay, I made that dream come true.
Something that shocks me is your age, right? You're 18 years old and you have a level of maturity and professionalism that I haven't seen any other 18-year-old have.
Thanks.
Where do you think that comes from? Were you always that way? Was it your parents? Is it something you're conscious about, or does it just happen naturally?
I think it's a combination of all those. Yeah, I think it's where my parents, they raised me and I think they didn't realize how little I was. My mom was always like, okay, this guy, he's like getting old enough. He needs to do this. And so she'd just teach me and treat me as if I was older. And she's like, okay, so you're going to memorize this. You're going to go up this grade. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just kind of did it. And I think it did help me mature a lot faster where I was able to be in these professional settings, even being younger for my age. And I just like, oh shoot, this is what everyone else is doing. So I better blend in. And I don't know, I guess mature.
And how do you stay disciplined? Because you said like you were posting, right, since freshman year. At your age, right, like you said, everybody else is doing different stuff. Maybe they're doing sports or just video games. How did you find that discipline? Did you have friends who were also like in the creative space, or did you do both? Did you kind of like balance both?
Yeah, I think it was a balance. It was really fun. I just loved YouTube the moment I started. And so when I was 8 and I made my channel, I got all my friends. I'm like, guys, we should all start YouTube channels. We can all become YouTubers. So my whole friend group, every friend I would meet, I would convince them to make a YouTube channel. So me and all my friends would just be posting, posting, posting. And then over the years, as everyone kind of got older, we all kind of went our different paths. And I think I'm one of the last people that still has a channel and is posting. But it was really fun because I'd get them to do the videos with me. We would do videos. And of course, I'd have stuff outside of school, like sports, and then, or I guess outside of YouTube, I mean, like school and sports. But I did always get all my friends and like, guys, we're going to do this video. We're going to do this video. And it was always a huge part of my life for sure.
I know that a lot of people stop themselves from creating content because they're afraid of what other people are going to think about them. Did that ever bother you or stop you, or did you ever deal with that?
Actually, that's true. I wanted to say no because for the majority of my life, no, I never gave it a second thought. I'm like, oh, this is me. But now that you say that, I'm actually remembering it was my freshman year that, or not, sorry, not my freshman year, my senior year when I was about to graduate. When you reached out to me, that was the only year that I kind of felt that feeling, where I kind of like took a step back and I'm like, oh man, everyone else is like getting real adult jobs now, and I'm like sitting here eating gummy food, and I'm like, is this what I want to do? Is this gonna be something that embarrasses me? And I had to think about it. I'm like, well, no, I think this is actually really cool.
So what were some of those jobs that you were like seeing your friends get?
Anywhere from like accounting to maybe there was this government site that was in our town, in my hometown. It's this big government site. A lot of people work there. I don't know what happens there. It's like a government site, top secret. I think like a huge chunk of the jobs in our town go there. Like it's like a huge site. It's like Area 51. I have no idea what goes on there. And so that's where a lot of my friends, a lot of people were moving to, working to, and you can't ask questions because top secret. So it was kind of intimidating. I'm like, shoot, this is like they're getting government jobs, and I'm, yeah, like I said, over
Biting
here
candy on
biting candy, putting dolls on four-wheelers. But overall, I'm like, this is what makes me happy, and yeah, this is what I want to do.
And your friends, so when you told them you were moving here, like, were they supportive with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I am super lucky. My parents, they're like, "Oh yeah, do it. Go down there." All my friends, they were not surprised at all. They're like, "Okay, you've been making us do videos every day, even when we're like sick." I'll be like, "Come on, guys, no, we'll do this video." So, yeah, they weren't surprised at all. They're like, "Okay, this is
And
where it starts."
something you mentioned off camera too is like you never let editing stop you. Like you always edited on your phone.
Yeah, yeah. So that was like the thing, like with Creator now, where I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford any editing software. So there was this free app that I got on my phone called KindMaster, and I just learned on there. The first videos were horrible, but I didn't realize they were horrible, which I think was a good thing because it kind of like turned off the switch in my brain that would have maybe been like, oh, I can't do this. You know what I mean? I didn't realize they were horrible. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And every video I did, I thought was amazing. So I would just get better and better and better and keep posting. And yeah, literally up until last year, I've only edited on my phone. And
And this is long form
it's
content.
long form. It was
Yeah,
hard.
horizontal.
Because think about this, it's not just a video. I'll use my phone for example. Filling up the whole screen while you're editing, it's a tiny rectangle right here. And then there's like the play button, there's the timeline, there's all the different settings up here. So it's like this tiny screen, and I'm editing, doing the captions and everything. It was difficult, but I think it did help me because it motivated me and got me excited to where I'm like, okay, if I can do it on here, I can make it big. But I am glad to say I am now editing on computer, and it's been a lot smoother.
And
But
what-
KindMaster
What were
is
you shooting
pretty
on?
great. My phone, yeah, everything was on my phone. That's all I had. I had this little $45 LG Android phone to start out with, and I just film everything on there. And I mean, got a couple new phones over the years, but it was always my phone, which I think is crazy that we live in a world where you can literally make a living off of just your phone. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like I want to say 20 years ago, that's like unheard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I want to talk about the night we met in person just because I feel like you create opportunities for yourself. I feel like everything that you've gotten is something that you've created for yourself. Um, when I first found your channel, you posted a lot of content, which if you would have never posted a lot of content on your own, you would have never been found by anybody, right? You were
Mhm.
constantly putting yourself out there. I reached out to you and invited you to our grand opening.
Yeah.
You drove here in a suit, and I believe your drive was 3 hours.
3 hours. I just finished my senior prom, and then I'm like, okay, I got prom, and I'm gonna make it to this thing in Utah. So 3 hours, drove down here in the suit.
Which
Yeah.
I remember like seeing, well, he had mentioned that there was a creator coming, but the last thing you expect from a creator is for him to be in a suit because creatives are, they're colorful and bright and just so different. And so I was like, is it the one in the suit? And then I was like, well, he's really dressed up for a grand opening, but it's okay. Better to be overdressed than underdressed.
Right.
And it wasn't until later that I found out that you came straight from your prom. And that's
Yeah.
just crazy to me. And it kind of goes back to that maturity where it's like, hey, I have my prom, I'm gonna go, but then I'm also gonna make it to this thing 3 hours away. It's not like we're like,
Right.
just in your town. Like you drove to a whole other city and you even had to find sleeping arrangements to come, which is something I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of. I didn't even know like that you had to set all that up. And that just shows like the effort, right? That you made. And it's like, oh, there's no barriers, right? It's like if you want something, you make it happen.
It's so true.
And that week, so kind of to follow up on the story, so once we met Trent, Seuss was like, hey, you should come in. We'll do some videos and see how we work together, see if you like it, show you around the warehouse. And now you're here. We've been here for almost a year. This
Yeah.
summer will be a year. And it's just been like a super natural merge, I feel, and like connection overall. Even though that's what I see and I feel, what do you think has been one of the most challenging things, like whether it was moving to a new city, working with people older than you, or even like uh, create like the creative world is always changing. Virality is always changing. You constantly have to be adapting. Like over this past year, what do you think has been the most challenging thing?
I think definitely learning to adapt has been challenging, but also really beneficial. I was super excited. This was like a big change to come down here. And I was really excited. And I think what I had done is I had 7 years of editing experience or 8 years of editing experience, but I had never gone viral because the only thing I was missing was a little bit of strategy because I was so focused on only the edit that I didn't realize there was like, you had to go viral, you had to do something that's going to go viral because of trends or different other things. So that's one thing I really learned. Of course, the name is Trendy Treats. You guys have done a great job of that over the years. And I think that's one huge thing that you guys taught me where I had all this skill editing. You guys really showed me, okay, this is the small things you're missing here and there. And this is how we can make the videos go viral. And it was really from that first video that I did with Zeus. It was so funny. I'd never done a video like that. And he was like, okay, do you have any ideas? And he put me on the spot and I was like, oh shoot. And then I had to come up with one off the top of my head. I'm like, okay, what if we went to Chick-fil-A and we freeze dried chicken sandwich, and then we like brought it back to Chick-fil-A and we bit it and we said there's something wrong with our sandwich. And so it was like, love it, go film it, you got this. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm filming this video. So he had me run with the tripod, and that's definitely one of the things that I think was new for me, just being able to do things on the spot and to adapt quickly. But that is one thing that was challenging that you guys really taught me that was been very beneficial in every aspect of my life, whether it's making videos, whether it's meeting new people, whether it's, I don't know, just getting out of your comfort zone in general. It's really good to adapt. And that's definitely a huge thing that I've learned
And
since
it's
really
crazy
coming
because that one video idea, right? You were put on the
Yeah.
spot, you came up with it, you filmed it, you edited it, and then we saw it, and then it went viral.
Oh
And
my
we're just
gosh.
like, okay, that
Praise
was
the
a great
Lord.
idea. And I think you guys replicated it after that a
Yeah,
couple
we
of times
did.
with different
We did.
different fast foods. But that's great to hear. And just hearing your whole story, like your journey of moving to a new city, not knowing anybody, not knowing us, and just saying, hey, I'm going to do this. Like, I feel
Yeah,
good about this. And now we're here and
we're
we're,
here.
what, almost 4 more million
Yeah, 4
subscribers
million
since you
subscribers, 3
joined?
billion views. It's crazy. It's incredible. Yeah, wow.
How would you talk to someone who has trouble taking action? I mean, yes, we talked online, but you drove out here, you moved here. When it came up to video ideas, you came up with one and you went and you shot it and put it together. I felt like there was zero hesitation, and that might be wrong, but I felt like there was zero hesitation. Like through everything that you did it super confidently. and you got it done. Like, video was filmed, video was posted, it went viral, and it's almost like it was immediate action. I feel like there's a lot of people that maybe doubt themselves or struggle through that. You took action really quick.
Well, it's true. What I would say to anyone who's doubting themselves is just take the risk. I've never had a scenario in my life that I've ever regretted taking the risk. Even if it was a failure, even if it was bad, I always learn from something from it. And it's just been incredible that there's always something you can learn, whether it's a win or a fail. You're going to get something out of it that's way more valuable than if you didn't take the risk. And I just always, I don't know, that's been my mindset, is to just go for it. Most of the time I don't even know what I'm doing, and I just figure it out as I go. But I think I don't that's like a good representation of life. You know what I mean? As you get older, you're gonna go through different stages of life. You're gonna meet new people. You're gonna move new places. And if you just stay in one place, it doesn't necessarily have to be physically, but mentally, if or I don't know, I guess in your skill set, if you're not advancing, you're gonna feel really kept up in your little bubble. And I think it's really good to keep learning every day, keep taking risks, and you know what I mean. You never know where life is gonna take you. So I don't
And
know.
going
It's always worth it.
into content now, which people want to know, and like, how do we go viral? What makes a good
Oh yeah.
video? Like, tell us what your
Let's
kind of
let's get into that. Yeah.
day to day thought process, like how kind of walk us through your day. Because even though we all work in the same office, all of our days are
Are very
completely
different.
different.
It's really crazy.
So,
Yeah.
what's kind of like walk everybody through your creative process and beginning to end.
Yeah. So I get here 8 a.m. The first thing I do usually, I like to start the week out by planning out what the videos are going to be. So I'll kind of get an idea. We use Notion, which is a really good planning software. I never knew about Notion, and Zeus introduced us and had everyone using it. It's been really great. So I like to plan out all my ideas on there, figure out which ones are going to work. I have a lot of ideas that I write down, and then I give it time. I'm like, maybe not that one. So I like to go through and be like, okay, this one is going to be the one we go for. This one I'm going to take off the list, and I kind of get an idea for the week. And then we're here, everything is candy related. Pretty much as soon as I get the video idea down, I head to the back to the kitchen area and I just start making the candy. Yeah, so I get the candy done. We film the video, we do a lot of freeze drying, eating, and I don't know, we do a lot of crazy things. It's kind of cool how one area of YouTube where we're all candy related can still have so many different things that you can do. Like, we've done so many things. We've done skits, we've done recipes, we've done experiments, like so many different things you could think of. And it's really cool that even though we're in like a small subsection of the internet, you can come out with so many different ideas. You know what I mean?
When you create a video with like obviously your intention is for it to go viral.
Yeah.
Do you always feel like a video is gonna go viral or sometimes do you hesitate or what is that process like?
That is a really good question, actually, because I always, when I think of the idea and I execute it, I'm always like, okay, this is going to go viral. Sometimes I see the final product and I'm like, okay, this isn't quite what I imagined. And sometimes I'm a little disappointed, but I think the biggest thing is to just post it and keep going. That was what held me back before I moved here. I literally would film entire long form videos, edit them entirely, and then I would look at it and I'm like, oh, this isn't good enough. I got to start over, which I think can be a good thing if you're going for a specific vision. But for me, it really held me back because I was never advancing and never getting anything out there. And I think it's way more important to just get something out there, even if it's not perfect. I'm a huge perfectionist. I think that actually has probably been the number one thing I learned, is to not be a complete perfectionist. I think make it as good as possible, but it's way better to just put something out there than to not put something out because it's not, you know what I mean, not perfect. And I think actually the beauty a lot of things is the accidents. Like with that one video, I was rushed and on the spot. If I thought of that and I tried for weeks to come up with an idea, I don't think I would have ever come up with that idea. But because I was rushed, it wasn't exactly perfect. But I'm like, okay, I like this video. I think it's good. We're gonna post it and see. I think that experimentation and, you know what I mean, that, I guess, that style of being able to just post and learn from everything. I don't just post and then not care about what I post next, but I post and I look and see how I can learn. But I don't like to let a video just sit and keep scrapping ideas just because it's not perfect.
And what was your plan at that moment? Because you came out here, it was just like a to meet each other, collaborate. But what you said, you were just graduating high school.
Yeah.
I think when I had reached out to you, I didn't know you were as young as you
No,
are.
and I also set my location to Salt Lake, so you thought I was down here.
Yeah, I thought you were in Salt Lake because your location said Salt Lake. I remember now. That's how I found you. I thought you were local. You didn't let that stop you from coming by and meeting us, and it shows in your videos. I mean, you've traveled for your videos alone, and you've met other cool YouTubers, other creators. You put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But what was your plan at that moment? Just because a lot of people are in your situation every single year where they graduate school, they're thinking of that next step. And at that moment, there wasn't a job opportunity when you first came. I don't know if that's what you were already thinking, but we've never really talked about what your
Yeah,
thoughts
no,
were
we
when you
haven't.
came.
And I'm actually glad you bring this up because no, we haven't talked about this. When you reached out to me, I did see it. I'm like, okay, this could either be an awesome job opportunity or an awesome friendship. I'm not sure what this will be, but I wanted to be a part of it. And I did. I remember looking at your guys' channel and like coming up with the pitch. I'm like, okay, even if this doesn't work out, at least I tried. And I was gonna pitch you working for you guys. So I had like this whole thing prepared
Oh,
of everything I was gonna say. But before I could even say anything, Zeus had me come to the office and he's like, "Hey, so we have this this job position open," and asked me to start working there. And then I would like played it cool. I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool." And then like as soon
you were
as I
like,
got back,
scratch this.
yes, let's go. That's like that worked out really good.
No, that's awesome because I remember me and Mel talked. I think you were here creating content with us for a week. It was just really nonchalant. It wasn't like, hey, you're gonna work for us or we're gonna collaborate and create
You
a lot
kept
of
it really
content.
vague.
It was really vague just because also I didn't know you, right? Like I
It's
didn't know
true.
you. You didn't know me. I also didn't want to be like, hey, I want you like to work with us
Exactly.
and stuff. It's just like I wanted you to come in and see how you felt, see what you liked.
Mhm.
Um, I had been looking for like someone to almost like work with me. And when I saw a lot of your content, I'm like, I had a feeling, right? Like I had this feeling and I felt like, okay, I should reach out to this person. You're actually the only person I reached out to. And
Dang,
I think
that's
I looked
crazy.
for hours. And when you were here, me and Mel talked and I was like, hey, um, like Crash would be an awesome addition to our team. We should go have lunch with him. And that's when we went to go have lunch.
Went to
Yeah,
Five Guys.
Five Guys.
Shout out to Five Guys,
It was good.
where business is made.
Exactly.
And
A lot of
told you that there was a job opportunity that we wanted you to join our team. Um, what what was your plan if like maybe that didn't happen? You said you were planning on pitching this, but did you have other plans before we talked about what you were gonna do next?
Well, I think that was like a good motivator. So I'm like, okay, this shows that I can do YouTube. This is something I can do full time. So I really had that hope. I'm like, I hope this works out. But you know what I mean? We'll just see how it goes. Maybe it'll become a friendship. We'll do collabs. Maybe it won't work out. I guess we'll just play it and see how it goes. Um, but no, I didn't really. One thing about me is I don't really have many plan Bs. I like to just go for it.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work out, I'll figure something out. And I think that's the great thing is you can always figure something out. But I like to not even think of a plan B. I like to not even have it in my brain. That way I don't focus on it at all. And I think that's again where I was on my last year of high school. I was like, okay, well, maybe YouTube might not work. Maybe this would happen. Maybe here's a different path I could go. But when I came here, it kind of eliminated that where it's like, okay, you really don't have to pick a plan B. You can go for your dreams. And obviously sometimes things don't work out, but you can always move from there and you can figure something out. But I really hate having a backup plan because it makes me worry. So I just like to get rid of the worries, just focus. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it happen and don't even think about what won't happen.
And how much of that do you think was luck?
It's crazy. A lot of people they say that success, if you're especially on YouTube, they say, "Oh, YouTube is all luck." A lot of people say, "Oh, it's all strategy." I think it really is a good combination of both. I think the best thing you can do is try your best and put yourself out there and get yourself into more situations where you might become lucky. Because what are the odds? I signed up for Creator Now. I never used it. Um, I was I had my account on there. You tried to message me. I didn't respond. At any moment, you could have never found my account. You could have never messaged me, or you could have messaged me and then I didn't respond and you could have called it there. So many things could have gone wrong, but they just happened to line up perfectly. And I think you just have to put yourself out there because as lucky as that was, it also would have never happened if I didn't put myself out there and try all these different things. So I think that's really the best thing you can do is put yourself out there, try your hardest. There's a lot of hard work involved, but there's also a lot of luck. And I think for real, just putting yourself out there and trying your hardest will get you into the most situations where you're more likely to get lucky or
And
blessed.
so
In my
you
case, I say blessed.
you mentioned you only have a plan A. So what's the plan now?
Plan now? Keep doing YouTube. 100 million subscribers, biggest channel in the world. No, for real though, I really don't see, a lot of people ask me that. They're like, well, YouTube's not long term. It's only going to be here for a while. What I say to that is there's lots of other jobs in the world. You literally could have any job. You could be a doctor, you could be anything and get fired. YouTube, I think it's interesting because it's like a freelance or maybe like a you're your own boss kind of job where you're doing things. But I don't necessarily think any job is like 100% stable. Nothing's promised. Exactly. So for now, as I see it, I'm just going to keep doing YouTube for the rest of my life. If that doesn't work out, if things keep changing, you know what I mean? We'll go from there.
You'll go to Area 51.
I'll go to Area 51. But for now, that's how it's looking. I'm just going to keep going. You know what I mean? Plans could change, but that's how I see it right now. YouTube's going well. I'm just going to keep at it and yeah, keep going.
And it's funny because I've heard that YouTube is not a forever thing since I started posting. And that was a lot earlier. And I think that's something that we'll always hear, but it's true. I think we saw that during COVID.
Very true.
Mainly everyone that did corporate had this secure job lost it. I
Yeah.
think that's when a lot of
It's really
people
true.
realized, hey, my secure job actually just let me go.
It's really true. Nothing is promised. And you can kind of like assume, oh, we'll be here. But pretty much in every aspect of your life, whether it's friendships, whether it's business partners, it could be family members, you never know what's going to happen. So I think you really just got to like live your life, enjoy your life, do what you love. And you know what I mean? Try your best because nothing's guaranteed. So
I like that you mentioned doing what you love because I think a lot
Sure.
of times people your age have those obstacles, right? You were very fortunate to not have your friends or your family kind of hold you back. But there are people who do get held back and
Yeah.
don't do what they love. Why would you say it's important to do what you love? Because I think it kind of shows in your work and just your dedication. But how would you kind of explain that feeling of
Yeah.
coming and doing what you love versus if you would have gone the traditional route that all your friends were going in?
That's like a really good point. I am super blessed to have parents and friends and everyone that supported me, but a lot of people don't have that. And I guess what I'd say to that is it's going to be difficult. I was super lucky. I was really lucky. Um, but if you don't have that, it's going to be difficult. But like you shouldn't let that hold you back at all. I'm not more talented or more experienced or more knowledgeable in anything just because I was born that way. The only things I know are because of experience and doing it. And even though I had a lot of support, if that support wasn't there and I still did it, I think I would still be here today. I think it's really up to you to choose where you're going to be in life and to make your own decisions. And again, yeah, I am super, super blessed to have the support, but that doesn't mean if you don't have support, you can't achieve your dreams. You know what I mean? I think the only person that you really need to impress or worry, I think the only person you need to impress is yourself. I think it's great to make your family members proud, but I think you really need to find the thing that makes you happy and you need to follow that. And you know what I mean? Not listen to people for trying to drag you down. Because I have had people that have like made jokes at school, things like that, always small things. I never was bullied like that or anything, but there will be people that try and like tear down your dreams or tell you that it's not going to happen. And I don't think it really matters what your dream is. If you believe in it, I think you have the best chance making it happen. You know what I mean? I think it's in your mindset. Your belief matters the most.
And you've obviously manifested what you envisioned, right? I feel like we know what we want. We don't know how we're going to get there. And we don't know what the
That's
end
a beautiful
result
thing. I love
be.
that.
But where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Just because if you've manifested this, then I know you'll have no problem manifesting what you want next in life. Where do you see you going, or what is your ultimate goal? You said a lot of subscribers, YouTube's obviously still in the vision,
For sure.
but where do you think you'd get to a point where you're like, hey, I made it for a second time?
Oh, I think I know what that point is. I think the two things that most matter to me, or I guess the three things, I would say number one, God, number two, my family and friends, and number three, YouTube. Those three are very close. I love all those three a lot. I think I've done a lot of spiritual growth, a lot of social growth, just in so many areas of my life these past couple months. In the next 5 years, I just hope to never stop and keep learning how I can be better and better. How old will I be in 5 years? I'm 18 now, 19, 20, 21, 23? I'll be 23. That's still pretty young, but I
That's
feel
really
like
young still.
it's crazy. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly, but where I really want to be, maybe it's not in 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, but I really want to build my life where my family and my passion are like and my connection with God are at the center of my life, and where I'm able to balance all of those. I honestly think you guys are a really big inspiration to me. I'm really impressed with the way that you guys built up your business from nothing, seriously from nothing, that you guys just started together with this idea and you built it up to what it is, that you guys have been able to become closer, and you guys have been able to not just only worry about the business, but also your relationship with your friends and your family, and as a couple, you guys together in your marriage, and now with the baby. Um, it's just really impressive that in all these different areas, you guys have been able to grow. And I think when you focus on just one thing too much, your life can become a little unbalanced. Like if you're only working, you don't really focus on social relationships. And I think you might grow a lot in the short term if you focus on one thing, but in the long term, it's going to kill you and it's going to leave you a little unsatisfied if you're not fully balanced. So what I've learned is it may be quicker to focus on only one thing, only work, or I'm only going to focus on finding a girlfriend, or I'm only going to focus on getting this certain job position or doing this certain thing. But I think what's important is to be balanced and find all these different things. And that's where I want to see myself in 5 years, in 10 years, is to have built tons of relationships with a whole bunch of new people. I want to have experiences that I can't pay for, that I'm only able to experience, that I wouldn't trade for any amount of money. I do want to have YouTube, and I think that's really the road that's going to get me there. I want to have a business at some point where I'm able to employ people and build things in a way like you guys have. Like really, it's a huge inspiration to me, the amazing things you guys done in just a short amount of time too. That I think you guys are like a huge blueprint for people who want to look and be like, look, you can achieve your goals and it doesn't have to take a lifetime. You can, and if it does, that's how long it takes. It's okay too. It just really matters that you're achieving them. And I think it's really crazy that in just such a short amount of time, you guys have been able to do that.
So
So
much wisdom. So much wisdom in that head. You think it's full of candy, but there's a lot more there.
well, there's a lot of candy in there too.
But you mentioned God. How important is that? And
So
has that
important.
been through your journey? Do you think that's where your confidence comes from?
For sure. Um, yeah, 100%. I feel like I lived my life, you know what I mean, kind of by the book. So I'm like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do in like a biblical context. I'm like, okay, and I kind of followed everything closely. And I feel like there was nothing really wrong in my life, but I think once you get to an adult or at least a point where you're able to kind of fully understand, um, I guess not everyone shares the same religious beliefs, but for me, where I'm Christian, I kind of was at the same point. A lot of things were happening at once. It was with YouTube, where I was going to go in life. It was with my friends and family. It was with religion. I was like, okay, is this really what I'm going to believe? Like, why do I believe this? And I kind of had been taught this all my life, but now it was kind of up to me if I really wanted to believe this. And so I really went through a lot these past couple months of research and a lot of prayers, for sure, a lot of prayers and a lot of growth spiritually to come to where I am now. And I do believe that I don't, I say luck, but I really do think it's some things are meant to be. Something might just happen, but I do think a lot of things are meant to be. And I do think there's a reason that I came here and like that things worked out against the odds like this. And I think because I was able to start building my relationship personally with God, I was able to become closer. I was able to actually conversate in my prayers, and instead of just being okay, God, this is what I want, thank you, amen, it was more of a, this is where what I'm going through in life. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing here. I'm not sure why I'm going through this or what I should be getting, but I just want to put my faith in you and trust that you're going to get it. So please help me be open to understanding and learning. And I think being open for sure has been a huge part of just being, I've shifted so much. I'm like, okay, what do I believe? Do I believe this? And I've kind of like went around, but I think being open and being like, okay, I need to figure out what's right and I need to figure out what I want to believe. and just being open and being able to accept a whole bunch of different things and learn, you know what I mean, and kind of pray about it. But I really do think,
And that's beautiful because I feel like that helps you as well,
sure,
being in a new city and going through all of
yeah,
these life changes. I mean, to have God's support and have his comfort, I think just really gives you that tranquility and that peace and that guidance that you
for
need
sure.
at times. I know even for us, it's a huge part of our reason and
Mhm.
why we are the way we are because we have him. You know, we know that even though there's ups and downs, that we're going to be okay, you
Mhm.
know? And so I love that you shared that just because it's so important and I never realized it. I mean, I realized it way older than you, like you said. But it's just crazy because it's those things that I say like continue to shock me about you is that you're on this speed trajectory in life, and I'm confident that you're gonna be where you want to be in the
I
next 5 to
appreciate that.
10 years, just because of the person you are. And we're so happy to have you on our team. And like I said, it was just such a perfect like I mean, it was unemployment, but it was just
It
such a
was really
perfect
interesting. Yeah.
relationship more than anything, more than transactional. It was just such a perfect combination. You fit the brand perfectly. You're creative, you're hardworking. And I think for any 18-year-old watching out there or anyone in high school, you should be a motivation and a role model to everybody out there because of who you are, where you are, and where you're going to go.
I really appreciate that. And to anyone else out there, I want to say that I'm not necessarily special in any way that I guess like I wasn't born special in any way. And I feel like, I don't know, I still feel like I'm a regular guy now. I don't feel like I'm that special, but I do feel like if you see something and you want to achieve it, it's no one really has an advantage over you that can be so great that you won't be able to achieve it. Anything can be overcome, and no matter where you are in life, you can make it work. And you know what I mean, there's so many different paths, but it's really like if you're able to believe it and trust yourself, trust God, trust your family, whoever it is, um, and believe that you can make this dream happen. It's really possible. We've seen so many success stories, like from any standpoint, any businesses, um, celebrities, local business owners, just like in so many different areas. There's so many success stories where they were able to achieve their dreams against all odds, and I think that should like really prove it to anyone that's wondering if they really can do this, that you really can do it, and that there's nothing that can stop you from achieving your great there's nothing great enough to stop you from achieving your dream.
No, that's amazing to hear, and that makes me super happy.
Unless it's world domination, don't do it.
Anything you want, really.
Yeah.
You could probably take over the world. You'll take over the YouTube world.
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll split it into worlds like that. We'll all take over the YouTube world.
yeah, and you're a really intelligent person. I think it goes more outside than just YouTube, right? Um, you could be really good at YouTube and maybe not be a good person or
Mhm.
be good at working with others. And I feel like it's a combination of everything
Yeah,
that you have. You have strengths in multiple areas. You're a good human being, to start off with,
for
which
sure.
is what matters, right? It doesn't matter how talented someone is at something. If the rest of their life is a mess, they're not gonna generate that luck, I feel like,
Mhm.
because things are gonna be blocking. I feel like a lot of people block their own blessings.
It's so true. They create obstacles for themselves without realizing it. It's really true.
Yeah, and when we started working together, it's something that I realized where it's like, you are a good human being, you are extremely talented, you work hard, you've chased after your dream for a long time, but overall you were looking to grow everything. Even now that you mentioned family, I think it was one of the
Yeah.
first times we talked. Um, you told me like, "Hey, I'm like ready to build a family as soon as my life's ready for it."
Yeah, it's true. And it's weird because that's not something I had thought about,
This is
but
for the ladies out there.
for the ladies. Yeah. But and I don't know when that will happen. I'm not necessarily picking out an exact time frame because you know what I mean, life works in crazy ways you never know. But I do think that's one thing where I'm like, okay, wow, I'm not just growing as a YouTuber. Like I always thought, okay, I'm gonna grow as a YouTuber, and I think that was the pivotal moment in my life when I realized I'm not just growing as a YouTuber. I need to grow as a person. And I had an issue where I wasn't able to post on YouTube for a year-ish because my account got locked. And I think that gave me an opportunity to look at myself and look at my life and realize that YouTube isn't just my life. I'm like, okay, if I can't do YouTube, am I still going to be okay? Am I still going to be happy? And I was like, no, I need to do YouTube. This is what makes me happy. But I ultimately realized while I do love YouTube 100%, I like really love and enjoy it, it's not the only thing that can make me happy. And if I didn't have YouTube in my life, I'd be okay. And I would be able to find something else because I obviously would be a little sad I wouldn't be able to have it, but I realized that that's not where my priority should be, isn't just YouTube, that there's a lot of things that are greater than YouTube that I need to focus on. And I think that's really when I made the most growth, was realizing, okay, YouTube can be taken down from #1 spot, moved down to like #3, still a high priority, but there's so many other things. I think the spiritual growth and the personal growth and the relationship growth has done more for me in YouTube than any editing experience or anything like that. That make, like, logically, you're like, okay, if I want to do a YouTube channel, I need to edit, need to learn all this stuff. And I think that is a huge part of it. But I think what really has helped me the most was all that personal growth for sure.
And because we were talking about girls, what happened? Did we leave the prom girl hanging? You drove here from prom. I forgot to ask about her.
Okay, wait. So what happened? I guess it wasn't technically straight from prom. It was that night, and we like partied till midnight. Yeah. So that night I came home from prom. I slept, and then I got in the car early morning. I think it was like 4 or 5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And then drove her here. So I slept a couple hours in between. Wasn't exactly. I had the suit because that was the only, I mean, like,
You
that was-
never
that
took
was
it
the
off.
first- I
You
slept
slept
the
in
suit.
it.
I had the suit in my bag. That was the first thing. And I'm like, okay, it's like a business grand opening. I got the suit from prom. I don't have time to pack. I just only slept 2 hours and I got to get there. So I had the suit right here. I grabbed it, put it on, and drove 3 hours.
Okay, that paints a different
That was the
picture.
story.
In
But
my
did
head, I
you
was
drive in a suit for 3 hours?
Yeah, well, you
Were
remember.
you wearing the suit?
I can't remember. Well, I think we'll leave it a mystery. I don't remember. It could have been. I honestly don't remember. I think what was the grand opening was in the evening. I might have been wearing comfy clothes on the drive up and then put on the suit.
yeah, I just didn't know if it was like
No, I didn't.
middle
leave
of the
girl
dance.
stranded.
Hey,
God,
Gotta
okay.
go.
I gotta go.
By the way, I'm gonna go be a YouTuber. So good luck. No, not that at all.
Not breaking hearts either.
No.
Recently we've had the opportunity to work together on a lot of short form content.
Yeah.
You always make me hit you on videos.
I was like, what are you talking? Oh, okay.
I just
I don't actually, guys. I don't know what he's talking about. There's this weird thing in videos where we'll do challenge. It's our gummy or real series. It's one of our most viral series where we have like a gummy food and a real food or animal or something like that. We put on a blindfold and we'll go gummy or real, and the person gets to pick if they want the gummy or real. Sometimes it's good or bad. But one day, Zeus, he just randomly started getting this weird urge to hit me. I don't know where it came from. And he started hitting me with things, and it became a reoccurring thing.
it goes viral and it's been fun, but
I don't know who
it
would have.
started off with like Trent writes the scripts for the videos that he shoots. I know you eat a lot of candy, you make a lot of candy, but
Yeah.
you do a lot. Like
Mhm.
you're not a creator here. You're a social media manager, director. We work together hand on hand on everything. And a lot of these are scripts that you make and they go viral, and that makes me happy. But then after a while, I was like, okay, I'm hitting him again. Now,
Which,
I'm
by the way, I
firing
did
him.
tell them to do that.
Now I fired him again. And then now I start seeing all these comments of like, stop firing,
Yeah,
bring him back.
I
And I'm
think
just
I
like,
realized that too. I'm like, maybe we want to shift back. Maybe we don't. I was unintentionally turning into like turning you into a mini villain. I don't know why. Like, it wasn't intentional. I was like, okay, we'll have like some.
Mexican.
We'll not get into that right now. I'm just kidding. No. I'm like, okay, it'll be like some cartoon violence where it's like a little joke thing. But somehow we're turned into like, okay, he's the boss. What if I got fired for doing this? And then the kids that see these videos, they take it fully serious and we'll get comments. One was like, Zeus, what is wrong with you? You cannot fire him. He should be the boss for that. And you need to go sit in timeout for 5 years. And I think you put out a huge paragraph about Zeus. I'm like, okay, it's really funny that a lot of these kids do take these things fully seriously. And that has made me realize, I'm like, okay, maybe they need to see
You need to
Zeus.
simmer it down a
Maybe
little.
Zeus isn't the villain that they think he is. So
I like
maybe
it. I liked it. We could keep it going. We could double down on it.
we'll double down.
Yeah. I
I
like
think
it.
you're like this ultra mega super villain.
Yeah, but I just wanted to show how you do a lot of this. You eat and make candy for a good amount of your time, actually.
It's actually crazy how much time I would say editing was always the biggest time consumer when I was making videos, and I've really had to learn how to like edit really quick lately because candy making, it is time consuming. So I've been spending a lot of time on the ideas and then the actual candy making. A lot of people in our niche, they have people make it for them, or maybe they buy it pre-made, but we've been making everything in house pretty much. I mean, we'll have a couple that are made, but we've been pretty much making everything in house, whether it's me making it or people on our team. It takes up a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. It's a cool creative thing. That's one thing I never learned. I always liked making videos as my creative thing, but I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun to mold things and do the candy. But I had to learn how to edit quicker to be able to compensate for the amount of time that candy making takes.
And you're a good definition of a creator, because someone had came in here once and they saw you making candy.
Mhm.
And they asked me, they were like, how do you hire for this job? Do you say, I need a videographer, editor that knows how to make candy
It's all
and then is willing to
dude.
be on video? And I'm like, no, I don't do that.
You just kind of have to like hope for the best, you know what I mean? Like there's no way you can like put out a job description for that. Like what kind of a job is that?
Well, it's also not just editing, because it's like
It's a lot
creative
of stuff,
process from
yeah.
beginning to end. Because it's just like, just an editor might not be the person behind the camera,
Hmm.
or just the film person who's filming the video might not be the person on camera.
It's true, yeah.
But in our case, it's always been beginning to end, right? Where the person on camera is a person behind camera and editing and creating the content, which also I think creates a seamless kind of like flow,
Yeah.
because you don't have to wait for all these people, right,
Mhm.
to make one
It's
video.
true. It's very challenging doing everything yourself, but it doesn't necessarily have to be all yourself, but it's challenging, but it's also very freeing because you're like, okay, this is the vision and I can get it done. And I think, you know what I mean? Every situation is different. I've seen so many creators. We've this last summer we went to a creators studio and we got to see how they operate. And every creator we've ever met pretty much operates in a different way. We've met creators that do everything themselves, no team. We've had creators with a small team, a large team. It's really interesting that in this space, there's so many different ways you can go about it. And I think it's worked out really good for us how we've been able to kind of figure out everyone's role here. And we all wear a lot of hats. We all do a lot of different things, but I feel like it's kind of like puzzle pieces, you know what I mean? Where we do one thing that maybe doesn't necessarily fit the original job description, but it works. And then everyone kind of, I don't know, it's like a circle or maybe a puzzle piece where everything just kind of links in and molds together. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's why you're the true definition of a creator, is because you were already doing this. Like, you were not just editing videos, you were filming, editing, putting them together, scripting
Yeah.
them. I remember one of the first videos I saw was you in a movie theater. And you were kind of already doing everything for your channel, building giant
Yeah.
like
Giant
products, giant food
yeah.
products, flying across the country to take them to.
Staying at the house is one I did.
Yeah, so it's
Months
almost
and
like
then-
that's something that I've realized is not everybody is a creator just because they're an editor or a videographer. And we've seen that there might be people that want to be in the creative industry, but then when it comes to like, hey, let's edit for retention editing, or let's go build this giant product, it's kind of like, oh well, like, no, I'm gonna edit,
Yeah.
you know. And it's kind of like it's something that you were already doing, and I think that's why it was also like we work together really well, is because you're the true definition of a creator. Like, if you need to film, you film. If you need to edit, you edit. And whatever the vision is, you're gonna work on bringing that to life, because a lot of times as YouTubers, we're doing things that you really can't go to a business for, like
No.
making a giant ring pop.
Yeah,
It's
like,
kind
we
of
pay
like,
for that.
yeah, it's kind of like, okay.
And every video is different too. Like it could be completely different things, like all over the board for sure.
And that's something that's crazy in our industry, is every time we come up with a YouTube idea, it's not just like, hey, let's film it and edit it. It's like, is this even possible to do?
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting, and I don't know. There's just so many possibilities, and it's really cool that we live in an industry like that, or I mean, we work in an industry like that where anything's possible, and tax write-offs are really nice because you can mark out pretty much anything as a tax write-off, right?
Yeah, we won't get into that. We're doing taxes right now. It's not fun. It hasn't been fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, but yeah, it definitely gets interesting when you're a YouTuber doing tax stuff for sure.
I'm excited for everybody to see the new and crazy more ideas we're gonna do this
Yeah, we have
year.
like a lot planned. I feel like we've really been shifting our channel, figuring out a lot of different things, and just advancing in so many ways. So I really do feel like we're moving towards greater and greater things and figuring more things out.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you
having
for
me.
inspiring us and motivating us
Yes.
even. I'm like, okay, we need to get on Trenton's rhythm. So thank you so much. Guys, if you're watching this, go follow Crash to his social media pages. Check him out on Trendy Treats as well. And feel free to reach out to him if you guys have any content questions or high school questions or post-high school questions.
Or you want to be in line for that wifey position? Yeah, be available.
You can hit me up for that for sure. DMs are wide open.
I do want to end the podcast with, what advice would you give someone that's getting ready to graduate high school right now, or maybe even younger, and their dream is to be a YouTuber?
I love that question. I really love it. What I would say to someone who's graduating high school and they really want to achieve their dream, specifically we'll go YouTube for this, is figure it out. What I really don't like about traditional education is that you're really pushed straight into college, which I think college could be great, but I think you should figure out. I think it's okay if you want to graduate high school and take a second or take a couple years, whatever it is, to figure out what you want to do. So I would say right out of high school, figure out what you want to do and just think about it. It's okay if you don't know right now, but I think if you really want to achieve your goal, it's better to think about and plan out what exactly you want to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be the way you're going to get there, but plan out and figure out what it is exactly that you want in life. And as soon as you figure that out, for me in YouTube, as soon as I figured out, okay, YouTube is what I want to do, everything just fell into place. So I think things really will fall to place if you're a hard worker, if you put yourself out there, and if you really figure out what exactly it is that you want to do, what makes you happy.